How they hangin' dino dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to another episode of Reaction and Review with the Media Raptor. It has been a long time since we've actually had one of these, and I was planning on saving the next one for the 175th episode, which is actually coming a lot faster than I realized. But something happened last night during the Super Bowl, aside from the Patriots getting their asses kicked, go Eagles forever. A new Cloverfield movie was released without anyone knowing. The Cloverfield Paradox, and that's what we're here to watch today. From what I've been told, I saw the teaser, and it's on Netflix. It's like Cloverfield in space. The thing is, this is not the first Cloverfield sequel. It's actually the second. If you don't remember, 10 Cloverfield Lane is a thing, despite the fact that I want to forget that that was a thing, as I really didn't like that movie. So apparently we're getting this and another movie in the Cloverfield universe this year, which will be set during World War II. I don't care about that. What I care about is the Cloverfield monster in this movie, and if so, can we finally find out what it is? That's what I want to know. So how about we stop talking, just kick back, relax, and check out the Cloverfield Paradox. Also, side note, that name is pretty cool. So, while there's no giant monster, there's not really been a whole lot happening in about 4 minutes so far, I will admit that it is at least interesting. Oh, and they're going back to the style of opening titles they used for the original Cloverfield. That's cool, actually. In fact, I think something interesting is about to happen. Okay, so there's this crackpot idiot who's probably going to be right, who's talking about if we do this whole energy generator thing, it'll open up a portal to another dimension, it'll bring multiple worlds together. And this news anchor said you're worried about this energy crisis being solved by opening a portal and bringing in demons. I'm watching Doom again, aren't I? I'd be cool with that, but I know this movie isn't gonna be fun like Doom. It's gonna try and drag out fear and jump scares for the next hour and 20 minutes. I just want to see the giant monster. Is that really so hard to ask for? Okay, movie, I'd like to apologize real quick. Something awesome did just happen. I really want to see where this is going. This movie is actually getting really interesting. In fact, something occurred to me, but I won't talk about this until much later because I want to be sure before I would say this. But there's a chance this could be a prequel to Cloverfield. Wow. I was not expecting that. I was genuinely expecting a jump scare leading to the monster or something. I was not expecting that, so I'm just writing something. This is nuts, and I want to know where this is going. And now we have an alien reference, or homage, or something. Kind of. Not really then, I guess. Oh, whoa! Man, this remake of How to Eat Fried Worms looks really dark. Okay, so the movie's actually kind of turning into Event Horizon, kind of. Event Horizon I actually did enjoy. I liked the idea it had. And from the looks of it, we're kind of in another dimension, like an alternate reality where some things are slow, where some things are changing. This is really interesting, actually. I knew it, 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 I knew it! This is a prequel! Or it's happening at the exact same time as the original, or this is an alternate reality and I've got this completely wrong. Still, I am 99.99.99.99999999999999. That's not a real number. % sure that this movie, The Cloverfield Paradox, takes place before the events of Cloverfield. In fact, now that I think about it, Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the Cloverfield Paradox could all be taking place at the exact same time. Well, they found the Earth, but there's 40 minutes left of movie. Do I hear giant monster? I really hope so, otherwise we're going to be sitting here for 40 minutes of nothing. Okay, so I know I've been talking a lot in this movie, but yeah, this scene is actually terrifying to me. I'm not afraid of a lot of things in life. One thing I am afraid of is drowning. Not the death part. The being trapped in water with air slowly leaving you and your lungs filling up with water to the point where... Oh, this is not good. Hold that thought, Dino Dudes. Oh, she is screwed. Oh, that is even worse than drowning. Okay, I'm not going to comment on that. You guys have to watch the movie. Yeah, okay. So that scene just took a couple of my phobias, cranked them up to 11. I think it's safe to say I will never go into space. Most likely. Probably. How is it Cloverfield Paradox, a sequel to a movie about a giant monster that destroys New York, shot entirely in the first person, is very close to making me cry? How? Okay, that was the Cloverfield Paradox. That ending brought a smile to my face for all the wrong reasons. Okay, so let's just jump right into this. Before I decided to film this review, I actually wasn't even planning on filming it for a few weeks. I got a list of movies I need to review. All of them which are leading up to the 175th episode. A couple which I've missed so far, but then when I saw that this was a thing, and I read the little description, I thought, why not? It's gonna be popular, I guess. It's on the trending tab for Netflix. Let's just get this done. I'd been told, just from what I had read online very briefly, it wasn't that good. That it was not as good as people were hoping. That it took a huge risk and lost. So, to be honest, I was not expecting great things. This was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and this is a lot better than most people are making it out to be. Now, I do gotta warn you, I am going to spoil the ending because the ending is probably the best part of the entire movie. Because it clarifies something in a way I was not expecting, but I am going to warn you, there will be a spoiler alert, I'll let you know when it is. But, man, the story is, it's about this space station, the Shepherd, which is trying to use this new generator to create sort of an endless supply of energy, because we're having an energy crisis, something that kind of is realistic if you want to look at it that way. Me, I look at it as we are actually learning from it, and we're getting better, but some people want to be doubters. Now, the interesting thing is, this generator, they're doing it in space because they know that they didn't want to take the risk of doing it on Earth and having a huge explosion. Now what happens is, it creates a sort of, well, this movie is essentially Event Horizon, Doom, and Flashpoint, the Justice League story, all mashed together. Because what happens is, not only does it mess with Earth, our Earth, which I'll talk about in a minute, they end up going to what I'm going to call Dimension 2, where some things are drastically different. For example, there was a Shepherd there. There was a different crew member than Tia, the Japanese woman. It was a blonde girl instead. The foosball table, this is a really cool scene. They start spinning rapidly with no one controlling them, and then the red turns to yellow. Very small things, but it also turns out there's some pretty big problems that happen because of this. Turns out in Dimension 2, one of the German dudes, is actually working for German intelligence, who was actually sabotaging this ship, so until Russia was neutralized, the beam wouldn't work. They had it to work, but they didn't want to use it until Russia was either dead or taken out. Yeah, that can cause some real issues, because they do quite cleverly. They don't just go out and say it right away. They show you all these failed attempts. Apparently, there have been 47 different attempts until this one happens, which causes the whole movie to happen, but it's been almost 3 years that they've been in space, trying and failing over and over. So not only do we have to deal with this idea of a whole new dimension, until they actually kind of come to realize that and accept it, there's a whole lot of mistrust, there's a whole lot of paranoia, and there's a whole lot of genuinely realistic reactions of just, what do you want us to do now? Look at the world. Look, we've been here nearly 3 years. What more do you want from us? There's a lot of that in this movie. And unlike some other movies where they don't write it properly or it just seems forced or unrealistic, here it makes sense. These characters have been trying and failing for almost 3 years. They say 2 years, but the amount of days they were up there was closer to 3. So that's why I'm saying almost 3 and not just straight up 3. It makes sense that they be tired, that they be stressed, that they just want to be done. It makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot of actual dread, a lot of paranoia. It harkens back to Alien quite a bit. There isn't a monster that's trying to kill them on the ship. Don't get that idea. But there's a whole lot of scenes where things get very quiet or very still, and it's unsettling. And that being said, all the characters in this movie are realistic, surprisingly. Sure, some characters aren't as likable as others, and 1 or 2 of them you just straight up don't like. But that being said, they act logically, they think before they act, they do their best to try and stay calm, but they do doubt each other. Like, it's realistic as to what would happen if you and your friends woke up in another dimension after 2 years of failed experiments. Now, are they the strongest characters? No. Do I even remember most of their names? No, because they don't really say them that often. But I remember Mundy was my favorite because he was a sort of the Irish-Scottish guy, and that's always extra points for me. But he actually is funny. He actually has a few good lines. But they're all realistic, they're all likable enough, aside from 1 or 2. And even there's some characters, there's one guy on Earth we follow, actually, and I'll get to that in a minute. He's likable. All the characters, not only do they serve the purpose of the story, but you don't want them all dead. In fact, 1 or 2 of them, you're like, oh, it sucks that they're dead now, because you actually kind of liked them. Which is pretty good. It's a horror movie with likable characters, with characters you want to see survive, with actual deep choices and real what would you do in the scenario. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. So, there's the main character, I'm sorry. You know what, I'm just going to IMDb it now. Hamilton. Here's the thing. So, in Dimension 1, our world, the world they came from, she and her husband are kind of going through some weird times. They're not getting a divorce. They're not divorced. It's not that cliche. But clearly there's something that's happened that we don't know about. In fact, they actually choose not to tell us about it until near the end. I like that because it's not beating you over the head with this one characteristic, and when this does come up, it's actually quite sad. I mentioned there's an energy crisis. Essentially what Hamilton does in our world is she puts something in her house that would sort of steal energy so her kids could read. Now, there was a fire, and both her kids died. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Now, here's the thing. In Dimension 2, her kids are alive. She never got on the Shepherd. She stayed behind. In fact, that's kind of why she went on the Shepherd in our world, because, well, what was there for her on Earth? Her and her husband were trying to figure out, do we want another kid? But they were thinking right now we should try and deal with this energy crisis. She has a really interesting scene. Like, she has a couple of times when she has to choose. Does she want to either go back to our world with the crew, or does she want to go to this new world to see her family? Thing is, in Dimension 2, Hamilton is still there. Her husband is still there. It's not her family. But she wants to see her kids. She wants to try and warn them. She wants to try and help them. And there's a few scenes when you're genuinely sitting there like, what exactly should she do? There is not a clear answer. There is not a clear, oh, well, you should do this because blah, blah, blah. They go back and forth. They bring up the fact that this isn't your family, but she replies with, you have no idea how this feels. And to his credit, Keel actually says, you're right, I don't. I don't know how this feels, but this is a bad idea. He's at least smart about it, but he at least acknowledges, yeah, I don't know what this is like. I'm sorry, but this is a bad idea. I'm actually curious. I'll talk about acting in a minute, but I'm wondering if this actress has been in anything else. She's been in stuff, there's nothing I've really ever seen before. Yeah, what I've been hinting about is something that happens on Earth. This made me really happy. Because you know how in the first Cloverfield, the monster just kind of shows up out of nowhere, and there's no explanation as to what it is? We finally get an answer. Kind of. Sort of. It's hinted at, but it was enough to make me happy. You see, it's hinted at in this movie that when they ended up making the dimensional jump, not only did they jump into another dimension, they opened portals on Earth. And one of those portals unleashed the Cloverfield monster. Why am I saying this? Well, because a few times when we cut back to Earth after the movie has kind of gotten going, we see the shadow of the monster walking around. We see the destroyed cities. Now, it would be too obvious to show the destroyed Statue of Liberty head. They don't do that. They're actually quite smart about it. And in the end, I'm going to spoil the whole ending. So until I go like that again, please mute the video. Okay. At the end of the movie, when it's only two of them left, they actually survive, they get the beam working, they get back to their world. Hooray! Now, my problem with the ending is we could have had, around the 30-minute mark, we could have had this really interesting idea of what if Hamilton does go to this other world? What then? Because the Shepherd in the alternate world crashed and got destroyed. Now, if she goes down, she can take the stuff down with her, and of course she'll give it to them, blah blah blah. But what happens to her family? How cool would it be to actually see her go and meet her alternate dimension self? Yes, that would probably cause a paradox somehow, and it would be kind of stupid. But what happens instead is all of a sudden, this one girl, what was her name? Jensen is like, you know what? I'm going to turn evil now, despite the fact that throughout the entire movie, she really showed no signs of it. They offered her the plans for the working shepherd, at least they believed it would work, and in the end it turns out it did. She says, yeah, I'll take that, we can rebuild it, we can help, we can save our world. Then all of a sudden she's like, you know what, screw you, you're not taking this, it's almost working, so we'll just repair it and then yada yada yada, we'll have the power source, and you guys all have to die, all three of you. You know, they were literally trying to help, and all of a sudden you decided to become the asshole of the group. That's relatable, actually. I've had that happen to me before, and I hate those people. And when she dies, you're supposed to kind of feel like, oh, she was so conflicted. I'm like, well, you got what you deserved. Now you burn in hell, probably. Probably, because, I don't know. Yeah. My point is, the ending is just incredibly kind of cheap. It comes right out of nowhere, and you know everything that's going to happen. One of them has to sacrifice himself to disconnect a broken part of the ship. You see it coming. You know, oh, he could do it this way. You know he's going to close the door on them and be like, I have to do this. You know it's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. You can see it coming, and it's predictable, and I really wish we had done something else. Because the actual ending is amazing. Because as they're coming down, they get in contact with Hamilton's husband, and he just starts freaking out, telling them, you're bringing them back here. You're bringing them back to this. To these creatures. And immediately I'm like, creatures? And he's screaming, like, tell them not to come, tell them not to come. And the final shot, they go through the clouds, goes dead silent, and the Cloverfield monster in daylight comes out of the clouds and roars. That confirmed what I was saying. This movie is officially a prequel to Cloverfield. And it is amazing. That ending kind of made up for what happened beforehand. Yes, it's annoying that it still happened that way, but you know what? Hey, we at least got to see the Cloverfield monster. And I'm really hoping that this new one that's coming out, whatever it's called again, hang on, I'm just checking to see if they have it here. Yeah, whatever. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the new one. It's going to be set during World War II, apparently. I'm excited for it. I want to see where this goes. And I kind of believe, and you know what? Hey, film theory. Someone can send this out to film theorists. I might actually do it myself. You know what would make a good theory? The Cloverfield timeline. Because I can pretty much confirm now that the Cloverfield paradox, Cloverfield, and 10 Cloverfield Lane all happen within the same time span. like, while Cloverfield Paradox is happening, the first Cloverfield is happening. And while Cloverfield is happening, 10 Cloverfield Lane is happening. I genuinely believe all three movies happen simultaneously to each other. Now I want to go watch Cloverfield again. 10 Cloverfield Lane, not as much, because I didn't like that one that much. But at least it had John Goodman, and that dude is always amazing. Yeah, it's... Despite the fact that the ending's a little bit lackluster until the very, very end, it's worth watching, because the story, it's psychological, it's intense, it is actually frightening, and it keeps you guessing like a good movie should. And you know what else is great about this movie that surprised me? The acting. The actors in this movie, I have heard of none of them before. Pretty sure. I've said that before and then I've messed it up. Yeah, I'm just jumping through seeing if like these guys have been in anything. I know these movies. Oh, okay, one of these guys was in Zemu and was also in Inglourious Bastards. So I know those movies. But like I don't directly like, you know these actors. They're not... I don't know them that well. Thing is, I was expecting this movie to really not be that good. Why? Well, it's Cloverfield. The first one wasn't the best, didn't have very good acting. That one at least had the excuse of it being a found footage movie. It could get away with that. It could be poorly acted because it was supposed to be a giant monster movie. This one, like I said, has a scene that almost made me cry. The acting is amazing. It is much better than it should have been, than I thought it would be. And these actors, I really hope they get more work, because they're all really good. Heck, what sucks is one of these guys, the guy who played Michael, the Hamilton's husband, this is all he's been in. Like, he's been in a few TV... He's been in, like, according to this, a couple TV shows, but under the known for in IMDb, it literally just says the Cloverfield Paradox. Hopefully he gets more work after this, because these were good actors. Far better, like I said, than it should have been. You want to know what else was amazing? Like, that actually surprised me how good it was? The effects. The CG looks great. The practical effects, such as the few times there's blood or vomit and stuff like that, looks okay. I'm looking again at some of the burns in this one scene. It doesn't look the best, but it looks decent. And I don't believe this movie had like a huge budget. I'm actually curious if they have it on here as to how much the budget was. $26 million estimated. Okay, I can kind of believe that. But like the sets look good, the props look good, the CG on the space station looks amazing because it looks unique. It looks unlike what a lot of space stations are often portrayed as. And spoiler, right, I think I forgot to do this. Sorry, I think I forgot to do this. Feel free to jump back and catch up. But the monster at the end looks amazing as well. Music, yeah, not a lot to talk about. There's no, like, actual music. There's just the songs, like the score, which, yes, it does add a little bit of atmosphere and is kind of creepy, but it's not the best. It's not, like, gonna win an award or anything. Camera work is fine. They do use a lot of shake cam and stuff like that, but I'm actually kind of okay with it because it's supposed to be a follow-up to Cloverfield, which is, well, that's the point. The first one was a found footage movie, so having some shaky cam is sort of maybe an homage or just a reference to the first one. Yeah, sure. When it comes down to it, can I recommend Cloverfield Paradox? Definitely. Will I watch it again? Not right away, but yeah, probably. If it comes on a Blu-ray, will I get it? Yeah, probably. Am I going to watch the new Cloverfield next one? Definitely. The movie... Don't expect a phenomenal, groundbreaking, award-winning movie. But if you're expecting another Cloverfield movie, another movie with some good atmosphere, good characters, great effects, that can genuinely be spooky and entertaining, you're going to love this movie. And the best part is, it's free. If you have Netflix, or you know someone with Netflix, or you're using someone else's Netflix account and not telling them, like I am, it's totally free. It came out yesterday, and I can totally recommend you guys watch it. It took me by surprise as to just how entertaining it was. It was better than I thought it would be. It's fun. It's, well, not funny, but it's entertaining. My point is, check it out. If you're a fan of monster movies, if you're a fan of sci-fi movies, if you're a fan of psychological horror movies, if you're a fan of having your phobias used against you, such as being frozen to death, or the emptiness of space, or drowning, be careful when you're watching this movie. But yeah, the movie's good. Surprisingly good. I'm giving it a solid 3 Raptor claws out of 4. They could have made the ending better. If they had made the ending better, or just changed it altogether aside from the very, very end, I would have given this 4 out of 4. But you know what? Yeah. And yes, admittedly, I did look at my phone once or twice, so I did check my emails once or twice. But it's also an hour and 40-minute movie, so yeah, I feel like there's some things they could have cut out, but you know what? It's still worth watching at least once, if you're a fan of Cloverfield or not. That's all for this review, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and if you did enjoy it, well, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. Comment down below what you want me to review if you want a free shout-out. It's what I do. Next time, either Jumanji, Last Jedi, or Justice League. So something with a J. No idea when that review will be, hopefully in the next day or two. But yeah, until next time, you guys, this is the Media Raptor, as always, saying keep cool, and I will see all you dino dudes around. Later.